you want to learn about Islam and Muslims.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Kieron Bateman, and I'm here with...
Shaz Nawaz, assalamu alaikum and good evening.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all? Little bit of a change up as of this evening. We are...
Oh, you've got a surprise for us, have you?
I do have a surprise. We didn't get round to mentioning it last week, but... Well, you were here too.
Oh, huh?
I'll
take the blame.
In the interest of we're all accountable for our own actions, we are both responsible.
Okay.
Yeah?
So whenever you're driving and you take the wrong turn and I'm the passenger, I'm partly responsible.
Yeah, you didn't say turn sooner. But we are transitioning into wealth made simple. So more encompassing, more broadening. We're going to talk about wealth in general, still about mindset, we're still going to cover property. We're still going to, impart all of that fun knowledge. And as always, everything is from our own experiences, our own knowledges, our own minds, not advice. And we are not authorized or regulated to give any form of financial advice.
So we're going to make it broader and better.
Yes.
Good idea.
That's the plan.
Good man.
If you want to get in touch, you can call the studio on 01733 602 133, or you can text the studio on 07411 191 062, or you can comment on any of the live streams. Where are we live, Shaz?
Facebook, Twitter, Twitch,
and YouTube. Exactly that. So feel free to get in touch. Faisal, assalamu alaikum. It's nice to see us back, and he likes the plan.
Good.
Excellent. I like the plan too. So, without further ado, let's get into wealth made simple. First things first, we're going to talk a bit about mindset and changing mindsets. And I know we've talked about changing your mind before, but we're going to focus more on generalizations and stereotypes, because there are a lot of stereotypes out there, a lot of generalizations that people make, and along with those generalizations there are certain assumptions that go along with it, and what is at its core a generalization or a stereotype? Where does it originate? Sound like fun?
That's a good idea.
Okay. So in general, and you hear this all the time, people will say, in general, generally speaking. All of these generalizations stem from somewhere. They stem from your brain trying to make something more efficient. It takes a subject and it shortcuts it. Because of the speed at which, the speed of thought is faster than you think it is. And if you imagine, how long does it take for you to think, I want to wave to that person, before your hand's already up waving? Imagine. So your brain transfers vast amounts of information in very, very short periods of time. And one day, maybe computers will get that far.
I thought they're there already, we just don't know it.
We're not quite. There are some limited quantum computers out there that can map vast amounts of information in very short periods of time, but they're not very... They're not all-encompassing the way the human brain
want them to be, yeah.
Yeah. Another aspect of all of these generalizations come from your social influences, your cultural influences, from around how you've grown up, how the people around you have grown up, what generalizations they have.
That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, it really
is.
That
kind of forms the basis for how most people think and behave.
Yeah.
Their environment, their upbringing, their education.
Yeah, and people make generalizations and snap decisions all the time. Whether it's subconsciously, whether it's got a subconscious bias, whether it's got, any form of bias in any shape or form, or whether it's it can be a negative bias or a positive bias. You take, for example, you see someone walking down the street and they're in a suit carrying a briefcase. You instantly have an idea of how affluent they are, whether they're wealthy, whether they work hard, what sort of industries they work in.
Yeah, you think you have that.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
Because of your predisposed biases towards what you think people like that should look like or do, you automatically jump straight to the assumption that, this person is well off. This person, they're getting into a nice car. They must be doing all right. Yeah, irrespective of knowing their actual situation. So you bypass asking a lot of questions without knowing the answer, which is really interesting because we like I say, we do it all the time.
We go even further than that, really, because what we do is we transfer a certain amount of implied trust. So Robert Cialdini, who's written a lot of books and done a lot of research on the area of psychology, influence, cognitive behavior.
Yeah.
And one of the tests he did was people were asked to cross a busy road with traffic lights, Pelican Crossing. And the first test was an ordinary person, could be a man or a woman, just dressed like they look like an ordinary, regular person, and the lights are red, and they cross, and nobody follows them. The lights are red. And sorry, the lights are green for the traffic, so everybody's
Still waiting.
Yeah, still waiting. Okay, and this person crosses, and they're all obviously waiting for the red lights. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking as a driver as opposed to somebody who walks, because I don't do that often enough. So nobody else crosses, and then same test, same place, nothing changes. The only thing is the person who's crossing is now dressed formally in a suit, and lights are green, so traffic can flow. There's no traffic, and the person walks, and people behind them, some of them, follow.
Just
without even looking at the lights. See, should I be crossing? Nothing has changed. The only thing that like I said, changed was the attire of that particular person. That's just one example, and there's many of the tests that have been done. So we pass implied trust. Okay, this person is trustworthy or not. Now, generally speaking, it obviously takes time to gain someone's trust, but just the way you dress can, as you've said earlier, have a huge impact on that.
Yeah, I mean, it really...
Initial impact.
Yeah. When people say first impressions count, part of the reason first impressions count is because of these generalizations. If you walk into an interview, for example, and you're in a suit, you look like a professional, you look like you're ready to work, there's an instant judgment that is made. Okay, this person came here to be serious.
They made an effort, yeah.
They made an effort.
Hence why dressed apart. People use all the time, don't they?
Yeah.
Again, a generalization.
Yeah. But if you turn up to that same job interview, even if you are more qualified...
In shorts and flip-flops.
Shorts, flip-flops, and maybe a scruffy T-shirt and a hoodie, you are less likely to get the job. Because instantly, people have looked at you, made a generalization, made an assumption about you as an individual, and switched off. They've stopped listening straight away.
Because you've not made the effort in their eyes. Because that's what they expect.
Yep. Expectation, generalization, and they're stereotyping what sort of person you might be based on the way you look.
Happens all the time.
It does. And so the question then becomes, should we apply these generalizations to our lives, or should we recognize them for what they are and ask more questions?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And what do you think we should do, Kieran?
I think we should ask more questions. I think that the old adage, the opposing phrase to generalizations and stereotypes would be to never judge a book by its cover. And I think that incredibly important in your own mindset. Try and, as an individual, or give people the initial benefit of the doubt, as it were. Don't judge a book by its cover, because you don't know what's you might have run into a person on
A bad day.
laundry day, for example.
Or a bad day, yeah.
Yeah. You know, they might be having, you know, a really rough day. They might not be feeling great. There 1,001, you know, different things could be going on that you have no idea about. And you're not interested in having an idea about because you've made that snap judgment.
Yeah, and there's so many different factors. I mean, there's so many rabbit holes or doors we can open down this corridor. But it also partly depends on how we perceive somebody, okay, and how we see them, okay. So we might, let's keep it simple, we might maximize, okay, them and hold them up in high esteem, or we might minimize them based on societal norms, or let's just say there's a particular thing you think this person might be able to help you with. So we talk about property often, of course. So you meet somebody who is, let's say, doing property deals that you want to do for a long time, and then this person is well recognized, well known, established authority, whatever they might be in your eyes based on what you know about them, okay, and you'll probably hold them in high regard. So then you're now behaving very differently towards them and see them in a different light. So you allow that to blur your objectivity and your judgment, and you might do the same other way around. You might see somebody and you might just discount them for whatever reason. And this happens so often, especially I've seen, Kieran, networking.
Yes.
They see somebody and they think, this person's not of much use to me, so either they don't talk to them or whatever else, or they don't spend much time getting to know them. And then, I've seen this a few times, that's why I'm kind of, I've got a smile, which is...
That person could be the perfect person
It
to
is,
help
because
them.
sometimes they say, oh, well, I've got a particular challenge and I need to get through to that person over there, okay, and that person over there is unapproachable and you can't get through to him. And they say, well, funny you mentioned that because I went to school with him.
Yeah.
You know? Or they were my previous boss or something else. I know them well. I was with them over the weekend. And this is why it's...
let me make introductions.
Exactly. But obviously if you discount that person, and, you know, because it's not who's in the room, it's who's in the room who has contact to other people that might be useful to you. Okay, so you get to people through them.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so incredibly important that we don't reach those overarching conclusions where we just minimize somebody because they're of no benefit to me for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I think it was on, and I mean, we do this a lot in day-to-day life, and I think it was either a YouTube channel, podcast, or one of my friends. I can't remember which one said it, or one of my friends was quoting somebody else that's saying it. But they aren't native to the UK. They're from Greece. And, I mean, she works in a university. She's done, you know, Cambridge degree. Incredibly intelligent individual. But sometimes, because English is not the first language, she stumbles over it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, over the years, you know, people have, you know, made fun of her for stumbling over the English and stuff. And she, like I say, either she was quoting somebody else or she made the quote. That's great. You're making fun of me because I'm struggling with English. But do you realize how incredibly intelligent I am in Greek? I speak 4 languages. How many do you speak?
Yeah, but that's nothing to say to that.
Absolutely nothing. And but because they're struggling in one area, you've discounted the entire person. And that's and that happens, you know, in every walk of life, in every aspect. You know, if you struggle in one area but you excel in others, people discount you in all areas.
And they do the opposite.
And they do the opposite as well.
And I find that extremely interesting. So let's say they go to somebody who they admire as a business mentor to talk about business, okay? And let's say this person's a sales genius and help them transform their sales process and improve their conversion rate and all that type of malarkey, yeah?
Yeah.
And then they'll say, well, I've got a problem over here with something else. Let's just say with their family life, personal relationship. Now they start taking advice from that person because they respect their opinion, okay, and give them advice. Not perhaps knowing that that person, okay, is not that good at relationships, or let's say
Train wreck of relationships behind them.
train wreck, yeah, or they've been if they've been married 3 times and had 3 divorces, and every time they were the cause of the divorce because they're just really not suited to that type of lifestyle, and you're asking them for advice on your matrimonial affairs. Do you see what I mean? And not just that, but well, what car do you think I should buy? Because I admire you so much, and you helped me with improving my sales conversion rates. Blah blah blah. Okay. Now, well, that person probably doesn't know much about cars. Don't know.
Yeah.
So we transfer, okay, so much trust. It's really remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, if you are considered an expert by someone in one field, you're considered an expert in fields that sometimes in fields you have nothing,
Yeah.
no skin in the game at all.
You just share your opinion, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then of course you've got norms based on the society which you mentioned that you were brought up in, the cultural norms in every single country, and I find this fascinating, depending on which part of the world that you go to, where people obviously judge you based on knowledge, education, their own expertise, how they see things, what they see here on the media, both mainstream media and social media. Social media is obviously a big one. What their family judgments were about a particular type of person, okay, or their background, or their color, okay, or their personal belief, what their friends, okay, or used to say about them, or would say about them now. All of these, okay, affect people so much. I mean, let's just bring it home, really, and local. You know, so many people I talked to now, I've mentioned this to you before, have a particular view on Millfield.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, they do.
Yeah, and I've heard people say, "Oh, you can't go there; you get stabbed." Really?
Really?
I've been going there all my life and yet
Never had
to
a problem.
get stabbed. Oh well, you wouldn't, but I would. Okay, let's go. And I've lost count how many people I've took there now with me. First time they're petrified. The 5th time, and they're walking with me up and down like, this isn't fine. I know that shop there. I went to have some food there, but I've had coffee there. I took my wife, husband, partner, whatever, to that shop there. We just wanted to buy some food because we can't buy from any other shop. Okay, that particular ingredient. They're used to it because they've got this fear.
Preconceived,
because
generalized,
they've heard it from other
stereotypical.
people, and that happens everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, and a primary reason for that is your comfort zone. When you're growing up, when you're developing, when you're learning, when you're deciding on your view of the world, and again, I am generalizing, interestingly enough, but in general, people find like-minded individuals to surround themselves with. You don't surround yourself with people that you're constantly disagreeing with. You surround yourself with, and the technical term is an echo chamber. People who think and sound like you do. You like it. It's comforting. It makes you feel at home. It makes you feel welcome.
Yeah, sound, look like, social class, all those things.
And stepping outside of that bubble, that's where.
And it's uncomfortable. It's different.
That's
it's weird.
uncomfortable.
The glove doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah, not sure about
No,
that.
I don't quite like this. Yeah.
And so you stay within your echo chamber.
Yeah, and
And hear the same things again and again.
I've done
and
that again. In fact, I did that too. Do you remember when? And did it to other people as well, by the way. When we're just generally talking about race.
Yep.
And inclusion, and people say, well, somebody else from a different background should make a bit more of an effort. And I say, well, the last time they were in a room where you were, did you make an effort to make them feel welcome? Or, well, I didn't quite think of it like that. Well, maybe you should. And then, as you know, the same thing happened to you, or put people in a situation where we'll go into a room. I'll take a block where there's all women because they've invited me to speak, to share, or on a particular topic, or we'll go where you've got black or Asian people there, and they are the only white person in the room, which is the experience that you had.
Yeah,
I think you quite enjoyed it, but it feels uncomfortable. Of course it is, because I know that too, because I've had that many a time. I don't think about it anymore, as you know, because you kind of get used to it.
Yeah, and
and you do think, I look different here, and
Yeah.
everybody's talking to people who are like them, and you have to make an effort.
yeah, and I mean, like you say,
And it's not all bad, by the way, but
no.
and once you get used to it, and then you just do it. But in your own mind, you've got to think of, well, now I've got to kind of find two people talking and kind of jump in there and try and
Wedge
make
myself
conversation.
in and try
But
and-
naturally, I think as a country we're getting better at this now. Yeah, but it still happens a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
no,
sometimes I observe it. I go into a room where there's, let's say, more men, or there's people of a particular background or color, and there's somebody else who's visibly different, and I'm there and I'm just observing, and it still happens more often than it should do.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, I had that experience and I really enjoyed it, but we acknowledge that I thrive in that sort of environment. I like things that are different and things that are challenging and things that.
But they're not
aren't-
different from anybody else, were they?
are slightly off the beaten track.
In terms of the question they asked,
But
in terms of how engaged they were, Kieron did everything was similar, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That-
yeah,
It
absolutely.
wasn't any
There was-
different in any way, was it?
no, and
Because we've done those talks many
Many
with
times.
different crowds, and there was nothing different about how they behaved and what they said and the question they asked and
they
how
still all thought
attentive they
exactly
were.
the same way.
Do you know what I mean?
And because
Perfect example in a way,
Yeah.
if there could be a perfect example.
they're all in property. They were all property investors.
yeah.
They were all wanting to know the same information, and that information is true regardless of your background. And so there is no judgment coming into there, but there is an expectation of you going into there as the expert. And they do ask you about what car to drive. And okay, yes, you do like your cars, but you're not a car expert.
No.
But yet people still take your opinion on what car should I get next, Shaz? Because they attribute your expertise with property and your expertise with tax and your expertise in these other areas that you do genuinely have a lot of expertise in, and they just transfer it.
And then they love my answer, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, it depends what you need, doesn't it? And what your
Yeah.
budget is, and
Typical accountant's
Yeah,
answer.
well, yeah,
It depends.
Yeah, so let's talk about that and help you get to the answer, because you know what you want, really. You don't need me to tell you what car you want, but I'll help you get there. And then, of course, with the way that we've evolved as human beings, back in the day when we were living in caves, we had to reach judgments very quickly in order to survive. Okay?
Yeah.
So that has carried on, okay, and that thought process is still in us, even though survival isn't the same there. We're not, going hunting, gathering anymore.
No,
but
and we
we
don't
still-
have to fight other tribes
Yeah,
for
but we still have
this
to
little patch of
but
land.
I think that's kind of evolved, but it's still instinctively is in us. So I think that has an influence. And then obviously when you go down to psychology and cognitive bias, as you said, conscious bias, unconscious
Conscious
bias, confirmed bias. Okay, and people don't think about these things until you point it out to them,
Yeah.
and they think, "Oh, I didn't quite see it like that."
Yeah,
Okay.
and for some people that's a really big eye-opening experience when you go, okay, but what about your unconscious bias? What did you think of this situation? Well, I didn't really think. I just didn't want to engage, or I didn't want to do that's got nothing to do with the bias. That's just the
Yeah.
way I didn't want to.
And then people over simplify things, and they're based on certain inaccuracies, based on their own belief or what they've heard, and they soon realize, okay, this is going to be further from the truth. Again, but I'll talk about sometimes in Peterborough and elsewhere, we have events at the mosque where it's bring a non-Muslim to the mosque, and I've taken people there a few times now. Okay.
Yeah.
And they just have this particular thing about how things are going to be, and then obviously because they're friends, they will say, I'm a bit nervous and whatever, and they'll talk why. Go and they come back. Oh, I loved it. Oh, this was brilliant. Because when they go and they think these people are just like me. They're just a different color, they've got a different belief, and in fact they made an extra special effort to make me feel welcome, which doesn't happen elsewhere. It makes sense. So it's interesting, and that's why I think it's so important. We shouldn't make those assumptions, and we should embrace diversity and inclusion, and make people feel welcome. And it's also important, Kieran, that for our listeners, that we need to be open-minded and challenge stereotypes. It's not uncomfortable. And it can be uncomfortable. It's not enjoyable. But if you want to kind of break free from these constraints of stereotypes, and we want a more inclusive society, then it's important to challenge those norms.
It really is, and that's kind of the whole point of what we've been talking about that challenging mindset.
Do you want to share 2 or 3?
I'm going to share 2 or 3 of my favourite stereotypes that we can all agree are not necessarily true.
Or accurate.
Or accurate in any way, shape or form. Women are bad drivers. Not true.
Far from it, yeah.
Yeah. All nerds are socially awkward and reclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Also, hi, I'm on the radio, I'm a nerd.
What about accountants?
All accountants are boring and stuffy and
like spreadsheets.
And like spreadsheets, yep. Or your favourite, all British people have bad teeth.
If you go to America, yeah, that's what they say. Yeah.
I'll see you after the break.
Bye-bye.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
Could you spare a few hours each month to provide support to people who are going through tough times? If so, Peterborough Samaritans are looking for volunteers who are empathetic and open-minded, and we'd love to hear from you. We run regular information sessions where you can find out more about what it means to volunteer for Samaritans. If you are at least 18 years of age and would like to know more, please email volunteer@peterboroughsamaritans.org.
Attention foodies! Discover a world of flavours at Pack Foods, the largest ethnic supermarket in Peterborough. Shop our vast selection of authentic ingredients from around the globe, including spices, marinated fish and meats, and exotic fruits at incredibly low prices. And the best part? We offer free parking. No more hunting for a spot. Come visit us today and explore the incredible range of flavours at Pack Foods, 232 Lincoln Road.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh cream cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakein.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
Satisfy your cravings at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant. Enjoy a tantalising variety of Chinese, Italian, Pakistani and comfort food favourites, from starters to desserts. Kids under 5 dine for free, so bring the whole family to our location at 63 Sycamore Avenue. Open every day from 5 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. Call us on 01733 313131 or book online to reserve your table. Ibrahimi-restaurant.co.uk. Every bite is a delight at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant.
Fancy the true taste of Middle Eastern Kurdish food? Asia Restaurant gives you the unique fusion of flavours from Turkey, Iraq, Syria and Iran. Eat in at 5 Fitzwilliam Street, Peterborough, PE1 2RU. Or order through Just Eat, Uber Eats or order through our website, asiarestaurant.co.uk. Call us on 01733 562 530. Asia Restaurant, the true taste of the Middle East. You could be driving, you might be cooking, you could even be working. But whatever you're doing, you're also listening to Salam Radio. And if you're in business, your potential new customers could be listening too. So talk to them and let them know what you have to offer. Advertising on Salam Radio is affordable and effective. And by doing so, you're also supporting this valuable and important voice within the community. Call 07866 319 679 or find Salam Radio online and across social media.
is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community.
Salam alaikum, good evening and welcome back. This is Wealth Made Simple with me, Kieran Bateman.
And Shaz Nawaz.
Good evening, Shaz. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And how are you, Kieran?
I'm all good. Welcome back to the second half. If you enjoyed the first half, feel free to get in touch. Let us know what you thought. If you want to add your thoughts to this second half, please get in touch with the studio. You can get in touch on 01733 602 133, or you can text us on 07411 191 062. Or if you're that way inclined, you can get in touch on any of the live streams.
On YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch.
That's the ones. So go fill your boots, get in touch, let us know what you think.
Absolutely. And what would be interesting is the previous episode where we were talking about stereotypes is for us to hear of people where they've been stereotyped or where they've inadvertently stereotyped.
And how what they've done to change their mind process.
Yeah, or what they're going to do going forward.
To make sure they don't stereotype others in the future, or to how they're going to highlight it to others.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Going forward.
Absolutely.
That would be fantastic.
Wealth, Kieran.
So, wealth, Shaz.
Mm-hmm.
The big, deep question. What is wealth? And it's your favourite answer.
How long do we have?
Well, I mean, I'm good for another couple of hours. How about you?
This will take us a couple of days just to scratch the surface.
Just to scratch the... Yeah, it really would. Which is fine. I mean, we can spend a couple of days on this. I don't mind.
Listen, the best answer I've found so far to any question is it depends.
Shaz, this is a yes or no question. It depends.
Yeah. No such thing as black or white or black and white.
Everything's got a little bit of a grey area. So it just depends on how much black and how much white.
Yeah.
Love it.
So let's talk about the grey first and then we'll go to black and white. I mean, people usually say, I get the point now. Yeah.
But I mean, to begin with, let's define what wealth is. And because a lot of people instantly think of wealth in a financial sense, in a monetary sense. And, you know...
And then associate certain things to it. We were talking about stereotypes earlier.
Yeah. And it is...
Which are far from the actual truth in that particular situation. Maybe true in another situation, but not in that particular situation.
It's not always
that
true.
Particular person. No, of course not.
No. But people generally associate wealth with assets, businesses, financial money, you know...
Because that's how they see the world.
And
don't they, Kieran?
Yeah.
And that's how they want the world to be, and that's how they want their life to be. So, wealth can be financial and monetary, but it also can be non-financial, non-monetary.
Yeah, I mean, beyond the monetary value, I mean, what about wealth as freedom? Freedom to...
Incredibly important.
Yeah, freedom to pursue your own passions, gain new experience, your own personal fulfillment.
Live life
and just
enjoy it and be there in the moment.
That can be wealth. Some people may define it not necessarily in a monetary value, but in a resource value, the resource of opportunities. They have the opportunity to do this. They have the opportunity to do that.
Or the contribution they can make.
Yeah, or the contribution, the positive impact they can make on the well-being of others, on or communities, or more than just the individual. Certain cultures, we're going back to our stereotypes again, but in certain cultures, wealth has the connotation of status. If you have a higher status, you're wealthier.
If you're wealthy, you have a high status. Yeah.
What comes first, chicken or the egg?
Both at the same time. Oh no, it depends.
It depends. But basically, what we're saying is that wealth is very much subjective, based on the individual, based on the individual's wants, needs, life view, world view, experiences, and desires.
Absolutely.
Does that about sum it up?
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I was talking about this earlier on while driving to here, and I was saying to you that, you know, I've talked to so many people, and I've asked this question. I used to ask it a lot, still do, but not as often. Is define wealth, and you get a plethora of answers. Yes, the most common one is financial and money led, but that's not okay. So let's say, I mean, I've not been noting it down accurately, but let's say a quarter to a third of the people I've asked the question to have linked it with some kind of financial number. Okay, but the majority, okay, say other things like being healthy.
Health is wealth.
Yeah,
That's a
family, contributing to society, giving back, sharing information, knowledge, experience, expertise, supporting other people, doing something in their community or the country that they come from, or the area that they come from, or the school that they went to, or the people that they have affinity and affiliation with.
Yeah, and it is interesting to speak to people about what wealth means to them as an individual, as a personal thing, because it is very personal. I mean, for me personally, my idea of wealth is freedom from worry. If I never have to worry about anything again, I am wealthy.
Yeah.
And okay, there is an argument that that includes financial worries. Yes, it does. All right, fine. But it's not. Yeah.
It's not the be all and all.
But it's not the be all and end all. No, I would rather be healthy than super rich. I mean,
End of the week, yeah.
Yeah. I want to see my family healthy. I want to see my family doing well. I want to see others succeed. I want to help others succeed. That's my personal cause. That's my personal purpose. Yeah, I'm not on this earth to see others fail, and I'm certainly not here to cause others to fail.
Absolutely.
So for me, wealth is, and we've said this before, a rising tide raises all ships. Personal wealth for me would be to be the tide that can raise all those around me along with myself, because it goes hand in hand. If they're going up, I'm going up with them.
Yep, absolutely.
But so on that side of things, is there a specific way to think about wealth? And I personally think there is. I think there is a wealth mindset, because it's the removal of limiting beliefs. It's the removal of...
It's believing in abundance, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
There's no lack of anything. Okay? And just because it's not a zero-sum game. Even the pursuit of money isn't a zero-sum game per se. Okay? There's no winner and loser.
No.
Both, if there's two parties, let's keep it simple, both parties should win and create a win-win situation, because there's some kind of a transaction, some form of exchange, generally speaking. Okay, that doesn't happen in every single transaction, of course, but with the transfer of money, you usually pay something in order to get something. Okay.
Yep.
So you've given something away, okay, but you've gained something that you want or need or desire. And I think people have got to. That's my view. I think we should have an abundance mindset when it comes to wealth.
Yeah, and I think it's an important distinction to make. Transactional doesn't have to be financial. What you were just talking about. I give, for example, my time to the gym. In return, the gym makes me fitter, stronger, healthier. So I receive for my time better health. It's the same sort of transactional process.
And it's also, it's more relational as well. You give somebody a lift, okay? But they don't pay you for it, do they?
No.
Usually, unless you're a taxi driver, a bus driver, a train driver, so on and so forth. And so the relational is more important than the transactional.
Yes. Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. It's understanding and this is the mindset of it, understanding where the wealth is in each situation, because I firmly believe that every situation you can draw something from in a positive light, in a positive manner. You know, for example, we'll get in the car. It doesn't matter who drives, you or me, but in the car we'll always have a conversation, and it'll always be, growth related, business related, something along those lines. And so there's always, you have a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge. Clue is in the name there. Wealth of
I think
knowledge.
this is about sharing, because I think sharing, and again, this comes up often from people as well. Sort of what is wealth, and they say, sharing the information that I have. But I can't. The quote escapes my mind. But it's something like
sharing's caring.
No, it's great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss things, and mediocre minds discuss others.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't remember the exact words, but you get the point.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So, why talk about the people? It doesn't benefit you in any way whatsoever. And the person talking to you about the other person usually has either they're again maximizing or minimizing them. Okay. So they in awe of them. Okay. And they're saying nice things about them, or there's some kind of a dislike for a particular reason, agenda, and they want to push that down your throat.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So let's not talk about that. Let's talk about some ideas. How are we going to make things better, different, improve them? Now you got to think.
Yeah.
But we've covered that in other episodes.
Yeah,
so.
we have. And comment on Facebook. Yeah, this is very similar to a growth mindset, and they go hand in hand. Wealth mindset, growth mindset, abundance mindset, all branches on the same tree.
Yeah, they're part of the same family.
So where would you start with the building blocks of wealth, whatever that means to you?
One of the most important things that or exercises I ever did, and people have different names for it, Kieran, was the Wheel of Life.
Yes.
Okay, and there you've got, and you can set this as you please. Okay, so you draw a circle. Okay, and then you can break that down into 4 quarters or 4 parts, 8 parts. Okay, and you can have in there family, health, relationships, money, job, satisfaction, investing, whatever you like. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go from the middle outwards towards the boundary of the circle. Okay, and you mark it from 1 to 10, and each area is like let's just say the circle's a pie. Each parameter that you set is a piece of the pie, and then you give it a number mark from 1 to 10, 1 being deeply dissatisfied and 10 being extremely satisfied, and then you link it all together, and you see it's not a perfect circle in terms of where you are right now, and think, okay, how do I improve those areas in my life? I think that gives you a good foundation for saying, okay, these are the things that are important to me. So if I can improve this and go from an average of 5 or 6 or 7 to an 8, 9 or 10 or whatever the number might be, and you know what I think about 10, we should always aim towards to get to 10. Nobody actually gets to 10, because otherwise life's probably not worth living, because you've done it with
them. Have something to aim for.
To aspire towards. And then I think that's where I would start.
Yep. Yeah, no. I
don't think that's exactly where I would start.
That's exactly where I would also start. And the quote you were looking for is, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people.
There you
Eleanor
go.
Roosevelt.
That's the one. Must be somebody important and famous somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think British people have bad teeth as well?
I don't know. Do we think British people have bad teeth? No, I mean,
yeah.
Awkward.
Roosevelt might have done, but anyway.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
But stereotypically, Americans make the British the bad guys anyway. We're the supervillains and everything, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, do your wheel, and that's great place to start. But also So I've done my wheel of life, and I've got financial, relationship,
Health,
family, health, all the rest of it around there, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, I'm okay in health, for example. I reckon I'm a solid 7, maybe an 8, but the divots and stuff. So it focuses the mind, and focus, I think, is a key determining factor over whether or not you achieve wealth. Focus and discipline.
Yeah, sure.
In any of those aspects, you want a good relationship with your mother, father, brother, sister, other half, wife, husband, children. If you apply some focus to that relationship, communication, and dedication to that relationship will improve.
And depending obviously on every situation, let bygones be bygones. I mean,
Easier said than done.
There are some situations obviously where
Yeah.
that's extremely difficult. I appreciate that, but for most people, probably not as difficult as they're making it out to be. If that's important to them,
Yeah.
I think I think obviously ought to be, but
Yeah, I mean,
some people just can't stand their parents for certain reasons.
and but on things like that,
Or parents can't stand their child or children.
I think
Things have been done.
on subjects like that.
We're not qualified to give any advice on that whatsoever.
No, but on subjects like that, I think it's at some point somebody's got to take the high road, and forgiveness is incredibly difficult, but incredibly important.
Well, it frees you, doesn't it? And freedom, as you know, is such an important thing.
Is an aspect of wealth.
Just let go.
And Faisal says, British Pakistanis have bad teeth. Laughing face. Well, I'm not touching that. I'll let you.
Unless you
have a word on
unless
that,
you want to
Shaz.
get into big trouble, I'll probably get in trouble as well. So I won't say anything either.
But yeah, it's growing in each of those individual areas makes all of them far wealthier. Now, when I say aspire to something, aspire to the 10, aspire to the I also think that the 10 for me personally is a moving goalpost, which is why I will never attain it.
Yeah.
I think that if you go from 8 to 10, that's a huge jump, and I think it's like compound interest. It's a hockey stick curve. You can go up to 8, and then 9's up there, 10's out in the stratosphere.
But it's so easy to achieve. I mean, I think it was Earl Nightingale who talked about this, but also one of my friends who speaks on the circuit. And the first time he shared it with me, I just wow. So he asked the room. I think there's about 50 of us, Kieran. Can anybody improve by 10% every single day? Nobody put their hand up.
No.
5%, 3%, 2%, 1%, and more hands going to go up. And he said all you need to focus on is improving by 1/3 of a percent, 0.33% every day. And who thinks they can do that? And everybody put their hand up. If we improve by 1/3 of a percent every single day, okay, by the end of the year, you'll have improved by more than 100%.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And when you break it down like that,
Small
and
chunks.
say, how am I going to improve this area of my life by just 1/3 of a percent?
Yeah.
And I think if everybody puts their mind to it, okay, we can do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
Those
think,
who are able-minded and have, with everything being equal,
yes.
and then everything never is equal, but again, we're generalizing,
Yeah.
but you can't just have caveats for every single thing, but pre-qualify them, quantify them. But it works, doesn't it? That 1/3 of a percent. And some people say wealth is having the opportunities and also the struggle, okay, striving towards something, what they become on that journey. For them, that is the true real wealth.
Yeah.
Becoming who you become by having your goals and aims and objectives. Others will say to you, well, it's my values
Yeah.
that are my real wealth and my principles. So some people say overcoming a particular obstacle that they had in their mind. Okay, they don't like heights,
Yeah.
for example. They're scared of snakes, some kind of phobia. Overcoming that, okay, gave them the power to believe that they have now become wealthy because they free their mind of that particular fear. If we're talking about fear or obstacle, so it's so vast. It's not just about money, but money plays an important part.
Yeah, it really it doesn't, and I think it's possibly the thing that most people will start with. They'll look at the financial pit on their life wheel and go, it's a 4, it's a 5, it's a 6. You know, let's make it an 8, let's make it a 9. And I as you know, spend a lot of time on social medias and across all the platforms.
Sharing useful content, by the way, not just
Yeah. I do
posting
try and
photos
share
over here. You go.
useful
Yeah,
content.
fast food's really bad for you. I'm just checking into McDonald's.
Yeah. I don't think I ever check into anywhere. But that aside,
We are not going to go down that rabbit hole
let's not
today.
go down that rabbit hole
Maybe
today.
on a different day.
But at an award ceremony, Matthew McConaughey received an award, and he started to, he thanked everyone, and he discussed who his hero is, who he aspires to be. Do you know the answer to that? Have you heard this speech?
No, his father.
No. He aspires to be himself in 10 years' time.
Wonderful.
It's an ever-moving, ever-changing goalpost, and there's always something more to do, something more to refine, something better to achieve, something more to work towards, something else to work towards. Because, in 10 years' time, he's still working towards himself in 10 years' time. And that really resonated with me the first time I heard it. I was like, actually, yeah, I have got, a number of heroes in my life that I look up to, that I aspire to be like. But that really, really stuck with
When
me.
I was training to be a professional speaker many moons ago, and one of my
come on, Shaz, you're not that old.
high mileage, been on the block a few times.
Hard paper round.
Yeah, very hard people around, yeah. And he used to ask people a question to other speakers. What's the best speech you've ever given? I'd be, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, I was the IOD, I was here, I was there, whatever. I went to the United Nations, okay? And he shared something which I found fascinating. He said, the best speech is the one that you're yet to give. Because if you're giving your best one,
Why are
what's
you
the
still
point in
doing it?
speaking?
You may as well.
I go, wow. You know what I mean? So
You've already peaked.
yeah, you already peaked, so there's no point in giving any more speeches because
It's downhill from
they're
here
going
on
to be
out,
work.
right?
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
again, it's a mindset thing, how you see things. The best one's yet to come,
Yeah.
and that's where obviously Matthew's coming from,
Yeah.
to some extent. So what are some of the things, Kieran, people might be thinking that we can do in terms of if we're looking at creating, the building blocks of wealth that they could do? Because I think they are important, and we'll link this to business because people usually link it to some monetary value.
I think, do your life wheel, as we've said, a couple of times now. But I also think that if you get serious about improving something, like you said, 0.33% every day. Get focused, get dedicated, get serious about it, and start tracking things, looking at them every day, looking at them.
That's incredibly important because there's two things that you said there. I think that 0.33%, a third of a percent, just spend half an hour reading.
Yeah.
That's going to be a third of a percent.
Right.
Every single day. Okay? I mean, it'd be more than a third of a percent over time, okay? You got that there. And then in terms of tracking, you're right. Sit down, whether you got clarity or not, okay? And, create your lifestyle design and your wealth design. What do I want something to look like in the future? Ideally. Okay, without any limitation or fear or judgment. Okay? And because then you've got something to aim towards. It doesn't matter if you get there or you don't get there. No one cares. Even you don't care to some extent because when you're striving and working towards it, okay, you'll get somewhere because you're aiming towards something. You know, so I think having that is important, and then thinking about if you want how to maximize your earning potential, thinking about if you got money to make smart investment choices, identifying opportunities for passive income, identifying opportunities for a second or additional revenue stream
of
is
income.
extremely important. And then obviously things like how do you give back, how do you make a positive impact, how do you support and help others, and how do you build blocks for the next generation, not just your own children but society at large. So those are some of the things people should embrace and think about.
Completely agree. And I mean, that kind of matches what we were saying in a previous episode about exit planning. Start at the end. Where do you want to be? Now let's work out how we get there.
Yeah. But it's absolutely true. Have a plan.
Exactly. And that's about all we have time for this week. So until next time,